Hello, everybody. Welcome to the next session of From Nothing, Lorelei's story. Now, we're going to pick up right where we left off. You have just been let out of class, basically. You're standing in the main foyers of the Merigard Mercenary Academy. Let me go ahead and move the scenes for you. And your day and what you decide to do is yours. So, Elle, what do you do?
Well,
Well, Elle.
she'll, well, she will step out of the classroom, look around, and then just remember that she wanted to go grab a book from inside. So she'll jolt back into the classroom.
Okay, we go back to the classroom. I think Arithea is still there. I think Sparks would have been like going to leave as you go back in. So he's like, "Wow, okay, excuse me."
Hey,
Huh?
she'll. What was the name of the book that you told me about?
Uh,
About origins and
oh,
sorcery and.
um, yeah, it was Beginnings of Sorcery, Fundamentals and Origins. You know it when you see it. It's by Tellewell something.
Okay, it's here, right?
Yeah, it's on the big shelf, and he points.
Um,
Big
okay,
red book. You won't miss it.
got it. And she'll go grab it.
With his in directions, it is a big red book, and that does make it easier to spot. You don't have to roll anything for it. You see the book is titled The Beginnings of Sorcery, Fundamentals and Origins by Tellewell Tassel, Adjunct Professor Emeritus of Spontaneous Arcana of the Wizard Circle of Silver's Reach.
Silver's Reach. Okay. She'll pick it up, pluck it off the bookshelf, and she'll turn to Amilla, and I'll bring this back in tomorrow. And she'll try to leave as quickly as possible.
Roll a persuasion.
Okay. That is connected. Cool. 23.
With a 23, you hear behind her, as if she hasn't looked up, "If you don't return it, you owe me 110 gold, the cost of the book."
What? Who? Can she see where that came from? Because it's not.
Amilla's in the room.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Okay.
when, like, Elle says she's leaving with the book, Amilla says, "If it doesn't return,
Gotcha.
you owe me the cost of the book, which is 110 gold pieces."
I'll be sure to return it.
Be sure that you do. And she hasn't, like, looked up. She's, like, looking at her own book. You also recognize that on the armchair that she's sitting on the arm of it, is a small glass of wine that was definitely not there like 5 minutes ago.
Okay. Perfect. I guess glass is over, so,
Yeah, you can do. Yeah. Your time is yours. So, where are you going?
Probably dinner, and then crack open this book.
Okay. So are you going to the Merry Guard, or are you going to the mess hall?
Mess hall.
Okay. Let's see how they did. It is not actually dinner time yet. Dinner's not for 2 hours, but you can easily get yourself a large bowl of stew, bread, and cheese, which gives you 5 temporary hit points. Unless you currently have more, in which case you just keep it.
I have more.
Yeah, all right. So your stomach is full. The food is good enough. It's simple. Probably the sort of thing that they would have served you a lot in the Melisandre's temple, or even at the tithes whenever they could get it.
Yeah. So it's comfort food.
Yeah. Basically, filling,
Then
cheap.
yeah, so she'll take that and take it to a corner of the mess hall and just kind of like as she's slowly enjoying the food, she'll crack open this big red book.
Okay. As you are. Wait, hold on a minute. I think. Yep. This is a time for the table. The study table.
Oh.
As you open the book, the first line in the book says, "When the spark first catches, let no mentor mistake it. Sorcery is never taught. It is merely endured until it is understood." In this book, we explore the early signs of sorcery in youth, those curious flashes and stumbles that betray a soul lit from within by an uninvited fire. These manifestations are rarely tidy. They do not knock, they burst in, and when they do, the wise take note. In all cases, sorcery can be seen, firstly, with emotional detonation. Sorcery most often ignites in the furnace of feeling, rage, fear, heartbreak, joy. It is no coincidence that most first incidents occur during adolescence, when such feelings are closest to the skin. Arcane disobedience. Magical effects are uncontrolled. A door slams in a tantrum with no hand behind it. A fireplace flares during sobs. A bruise heals before anyone even notices it existed. Or even physical symptoms. Some children grow feverish or weak after surges. Others complain of buzzing ears, weightless fingers, or heart thunder, what we now recognize as latent spell channeling. Social outcomes. In conservative communities, these signs may be mistaken for curses, divine meddling, or worse. Some children are hidden, others paraded. Both can be dangerous. As a scholar of the arcane arts, it is my duty to understand the differences between the magic that can be learned and the magic that is earned. That's the first page.
At that first like paragraph, she'll be reading it and she'll be like, "No fucking shit." Uh, um. All right. Blah 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 blah. Clockwork.
Okay. You skim through the pages, you see it goes like Draconic Bloodline, then Storm Sorcery, and then Clockwork Soul. The first line says, "They hear ticking where there is none, and the nature of order leaks out of them." Significant signs that are common are perfectly synchronization blinking with clocks, and rooms are tidied without effort. A knack for things to be in order. Spells sometimes are cast by accident, halt timepieces, or align furniture as they occur. Emotionally, early indicators of a clockwork soul involve panic, suddenly resolving into stillness, or overstimulation is often followed by lucidity.
Um, she'll sit there reading it, just checking off boxes. And she'll just get really sad.
Yeah. The book goes on to say, "The wise parent listens, the wise teacher observes, and the wise sorcerer remembers. The onset of sorcery is rarely beautiful. It is disruptive, frightening, and messy. But within that mess is meaning. These sparks are warnings, yes, but also invitations. One does not choose sorcery, one is claimed. The only choice that remains is how one will answer."
Okay. Is there anything? Does it go on to any more like information, like about Clockwork Soul sorcerers themselves, their abilities, what they can do?
Hold on. Let me pull that up. Okay. Going to another doc. Sorry. A moment. You'd think I would keep this all together. You see there's like an addendum, like to go to a further page, based on Clockwork Soul. And so like you page through, and then Chapter 5, The Clockwork Soul. Some sorcerers burn. These hum. Of all the documented sorcerers' origins, none trouble the faculty of spontaneous arcana more than the Clockwork Soul. Not because these students are unruly. On the contrary, many become model apprentices. But because their source is not alive. Not in the traditional sense. To wield the weave through the lens of Mechanus, the great planar engine of cosmic order, is to draw power from a source that prefers equations to emotions. The Clockwork Soul sorcerer is an irregularity made regular, a paradox where will and rigidity coincide. No two scholars agree on how this connection is first forged. However, most postulate 3 primary catalysts. 1. Lineage by law. An ancestor once bound to Mechanus, perhaps a Modron, Inevitabler, or another gear-laden denizen, left traces behind. 2. Exposure to the Axis. Prolonged contact with planar energies, whether by accident or divine will, during youth may tune the soul like a tuning fork to that plane's rhythm. This is also one of the only cases of a sorcerer not being designated by birth. 3. The calculated gift. In rare cases, a being of pure law, a Primus fragment, for instance, selects a mortal host to rebalance some invisible equation. Early manifestations. Temporal displacement. The child moves just ahead of danger, as if guided by some unseen rhythm. Pattern recognition. They complete puzzles far too quickly. They may instinctively reorganize objects to be symmetrical, centered, or sequential. Auditory phenomena. A common report is the internal sound of ticking or whirring, especially during heightened emotion. Physical stability. Their injuries heal more neatly than expected. Bleeding stops faster. Fever runs precise and even cycles. In all commonalities, personality traits amongst Clockwork Souls frequently exhibit a distaste for chaos and personal spaces or routines, an unsettling calm during crises, an analytical mind paired with emotional latency, a surprising wit, often dry, when they do choose to speak. These are not children of cold hearts. They are simply children of measured hearts. Don't mistake formality for a lack of feeling. Magic drawn from Mechanus rarely roars. It does not flare, shriek, or spiral. It arrives with precision. Spells manifest cleanly and without flourish. It arrives with balance. Effects are proportionate. No wasted motion, no excess. And it arrives with stability. These sorcerers show remarkable resistance to magical volatility. Wild magic, for instance, seldom takes root in them. Intent flavors spellcasting, as with all sorcery, but for the Clockwork Soul, intent is often discipline itself, a longing for order, predictability, symmetry in a life otherwise racked with instability. Indeed, many students come to Mechanus not by blood, but by grief. From the author. In all my years of teaching, I have never met a Clockwork Soul who did not bear the weight of something disassembled. A home, a family, or a promise. They do not seek vengeance, they seek restoration. Tallywell Tassel.
She'll read all that, and through her mind's just replaying little moments of signs that she thought were just her personality. She's always been ambitious, but also calculated and precise, even with the business that she ran through the tithes of providing tour guides. She always ran a precise route with whoever she was able to convince to take these tour guides with her. Um, Also, her space in the Warren was always very neat and tidy. Not like it is like her space is now in her room. It's kind of a mess as she just threw everything everywhere. But she's going through a lot of grief. So, with that, she and my scream in black. Sorry.
It's okay.
With that, she'll just run both her hands through her hair and undo the braid and just sigh. And her comfort meal has gone unfinished. She'll close the book.
Out of curiosity, reading through the book, does this make her feel worried, sad, understood? Like, what's going through her mind emotionally?
She is sad. She is beating herself up that she didn't see these signs as something more than just who she was. And in hindsight, it is who she is. Because this was always a part of her. So, not recognizing it and not being able to prevent what happened, she feels a lot of guilt. But she understands why.
So, as you like take your hands off your face and look up, you realize there is someone sitting across from you. You don't know when they arrived. They are a halfling with reddish brown hair and green eyes. This is who you see sitting right across from you. And she's looking at you with these bright, wide green eyes, and she just... Why do you look so sad?
It's been a long day.
You want some company? You're sitting in here all by yourself.
Sure.
She gives you a wide smile and then like shoves a big spoon of stew into her own mouth. And then like almost for like having forgotten to do it, she leaves the spoon in her mouth and holds a hand out for you to shake.
I'm assuming that was you introducing yourself?
She like slowly like pushes the spoon out of her mouth with her tongue as it falls on the bowl, and she's like, "Sorry. Hi, I'm Cassandra Highhop."
Nice to meet you, Cassandra. Elle.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
And she'll take a deep breath and put on that face that she's okay. And shake her hand.
What are you here for?
Sorcery.
Oh, that's fascinating. I've always been curious about that myself.
You are?
Oh, sure. I'd love to learn. I don't have the knack.
Well, what are you here for?
She looks around and she just tilts her head and says, I'm a rogue.
Oh.
Though between you and me, I don't think I'm doing very well at it.
Well, Max seems like he's a good teacher.
Who?
Cassandra Maxwell?
Oh, don't
Or
call him Max. Oh, don't let him hear you say that. Oh, no, he'll never let you live that down.
all right.
Oh, he will hate that. I
You
tried,
said
and nope.
Cassandra High Hop?
Aye.
Is that? I'm putting it in my notes. Uh, okay, sorry. Continue.
Yeah, I called him that once, and somehow a wad of cloth flew into my mouth. Just don't take the chance. He doesn't like it. I know that for a fact.
Fair enough.
Anyway, I don't think I'm doing too well. I've only been here a few months, and I'm still on the basics. So,
Well, what kind of trouble are you having?
I feel bad. I mean, have you ever been going somewhere and you reached into your pocket and you knew before you got there that you had 5 silver that you were going to spend as soon as you got to the place you were going, and then you reach in your pocket, it's not there? I would feel terrible if I did that to someone.
Hmm.
I didn't
Gotcha.
want them to feel that kind of, just that disappointment.
Well, what do you want out of this? I mean,
I want to be the best rogue there ever was. I want to be so slick and smooth that no one ever doubts me again.
well, Lorelai has heard a lot of stories. Just being where she grew up. Does she have any stories to tell of a rogue in a adventuring party that may have came through Taka? Or I remember you saying that the Sad Cup was a product of an adventuring party.
Sure.
Do I remember that correctly?
The Sad Cup was, yeah. You absolutely. The adventuring party that visited the Sad Cup constantly, by reputation, was the Wanderers, the same adventuring party that was said to be the ones that ascended to godhood and created all these myths and legends. And so the Sad Cup was named after their favorite pub. And people go there all the time for the stories about these old heroes that have passed on.
Was there a particular story about a rogue character that was more or less trying to find the words here, less about stealing and thievery than, or more about like doing something good in the world?
The Ray Sean, the Wanderer, the lizard folk wanderer, was famous for hunting demons and using his skills to defend those who couldn't defend themselves.
Okay. So she'll ask Cassandra, have you ever heard of what was his name? Rayshawn?
No,
It was
that's his name is Ray Sean, but she hasn't heard of him.
Rayshawn. And she'll go into a practiced story about Rayshawn and how he used to fight demons. And she would probably, during one of her tours, she would actually tell the story when she came across or passed by the Sad Cup, or something that reminded her of this story. And she'll
roll performance as you're telling this story, or persuasion.
Okay.
I'll let either.
Performance fits better, even though it's lower.
Okay.
Oh, okay. 12. It's not the best.
It does
Going,
not matter. Cassandra is enraptured. As you're telling this story, her eyes are like growing wider, and she just is like leaning forward and it seems like she's hanging on to every word. There's a way about this little halfling that as you're talking, you feel like whatever you're saying is the most important thing this halfling has ever heard. She's just listening, hanging on to every syllable. When you finally finish the story, she's just, that was amazing. I can't believe I've never heard of him before.
So, is that maybe someone you'd want to, be like?
Oh, I'm sure everyone in the world admires him. Everyone that's heard of him. That's what I hope for. I'd love to be admired like that.
A lot of people do admire him. I've heard his story so many times. So, I'm sure there's a library here of lore about him, and you can read up more on, well, more than what I know.
That's a great idea. I
Good.
think I'm going to go look now.
All right.
Thanks.
It was nice to meet you.
You too.
Yeah, of course. Bye.
And Cassandra hops, like hops out of her chair, realizes she didn't actually eat all of her food, picks up her bowl and just like scarfs a bunch of it. Have a good rest of your day, and runs like up to the counter and drops off the bowl before running out of the mess hall. And she leaves.
She'll let out a long exhale. Just kind of. That was a little taxing for her right now because she was just really sad and she just had to put on this face. But with that, she'll take whatever's left in her bowl and she won't eat it. She's not hungry anymore. But she'll pick up the book and she'll wander outside.
Okay. You step outside the Marigold Academy. You're out in the courtyard. You have the book under your arm. The day is yours. It's now like 5:30 in the evening. You can proceed the day however you like, or we can fast forward. It's up to you what you do.
I don't really have anything important. I think she'll swap out the big red book for the one that Amila gave her to study and learn from. The one that to teach you about Arcana and magic.
Oh, okay. Basically the fundamentals of Arcana.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you can read on that and make some more progress toward gaining the Arcana skill.
Yeah, she'll spend I don't know when sunset is, but she'll spend the rest of her time like just outside reading that book until it gets dark.
You have a few hours this time of year. You have, I think, 3 hours until it actually gets dark.
Okay. Yeah, she'll spend 3 hours just enjoying the outside and reading that book.
Okay. Roll investigation for me.
Sure. 5.
5. It's a nice day, even though it is like cold, as it's, it is technically winter, even though the fact that you're in Ferrum, it's a coastal town, it doesn't ever really get that cold. It is beautiful out, and it's hard to focus. You kind of keep getting distracted. Just by the goings-ons. There's lots of people training, running around. But you pass some time until the sun's set.
Yeah. And then she's very tired after a day like today.
Yeah.
So she'll turn in early.
Okay. Then we proceed on to the next day. You can click long rest.
Oh, yay.
Get your stuff back. Oh. Excuse me.
All good? All right.
All right. So the next day, you awaken. Now, it's the third day for you at the Marigold Mercenary Academy. And at this point, she went to bed pretty early. Do you think she would sleep in?
I How the sun's set? What, like 8 o'clock
Yeah.
at night? Uh, then she would actually be up probably before the sun's. Um,
They're not rising until like 7, so that's fair.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. She'll. I mean, she'll get a full 9 hours if she can, if it's not fitful. And then wake up.
Okay.
Uh, oh, it
Even
took
so,
away my temp.
my question is, when you take your long rest, considering the stress and emotions induced during the day, do you think she had a fitful sleep, or do you think there was closure in all of that emotion?
I don't think there was closure just yet. It's just all of the emotions already came out,
Right.
um, rather than play in her mind over and over again. Um, so yeah, I think she's up at like stupid early, like 4 a.m., 5 a.m.
Okay. Yeah, we'll say you wake up at like 4 a.m. You awake on your own,
Mhm.
just eyes suddenly open, and your room is dark. The mosaic window just shines what little starlight there is uh, into prismatic colors on the floor, and otherwise the room is pitch black.
Uh, yeah, she'll turn on or she'll flick open the hooded lantern on the bedside table, or
Okay.
light it if she wants.
It's an oil lamp, so it's basically like always got like a tiny little flame in it. You can just open the
Okay.
valve and it lights up.
Yeah, and she'll light the room, and she'll look at her room and kind of just see how much of a mess it is to her standards, and she'll spend an hour just tidying it up, um, the way she likes. Uh, and she'll look through the pack finally after 2 days. Um,
Okay.
she'll look at the robes and she'll, yeah, no, nope. And she'll put it on. Is there like a pin or a lapel that is detachable from the robes that maybe she could put on her current outfit?
There's an amulet. That it like so the robes have the Marigard insignia like sewn into their shoulder. But there is
Okay.
also like an amulet that is the same mark. That looks like it also can be used as a spellcasting focus. It has like a small
Oh,
crystal in the middle of it.
okay. Well, she'll put that on and kind of adjust it next to uh, the little symbol of Melisandre around her neck that she always wears. And once that's done, uh, she nods at her work, proud of herself, and then she'll scowl because she hasn't had a bath in a couple days,
Yeah.
and she'll try to find a bath.
So the first thing that you notice is when you awaken and leave your immediate dorm, you see seated at the little common table in this little half room in between all the rooms is Erithea again.
You ever sleep?
She looks up. What do you mean?
You're always there whenever I don't know.
She shrugs and she says, "You dream loud, you know. The air changes around you, like steam trying to remember blood."
We need to work on your social skills.
I've heard that
Just a,
before.
yeah. Is there a bath here around?
She
I
nods.
don't. Can you point it out to me?
She points to the middle door next to the table.
Thanks.
Hmm.
And she'll
She then
waltz
says,
in.
like, as you're leaving, she says, "Your hair looks like a hero in a tragedy. It suits you."
Thanks again. And she'll go take a bath.
Okay,
Um,
yeah, it is. So there is plumbing, which
oh,
is rare.
yeah.
There are brass taps and like full from floor to ceiling doors in front of each one. And there is a bath tub that looks more like it's a big square pool that's full of warm water. But next to that are these shower stalls, which is the best I can describe them, and a big old drain right in the middle of the floor.
Huh. Okay. She'll try to figure out how to do it. I'm sure she's probably being with the ties. There wasn't
No, this is
such
brand new. Never
commodities like
seen
these.
anything like this.
Yeah, she'll try to figure it out and try
Roll an
to.
intelligence check.
Uh, 12.
So when experimenting with the knobs in one of the stalls, like she turns the first knob and then she turns the second knob and the whole thing makes this horrible noise of like something going wrong, and like in a panic you like twist the knobs back off and then it all like settles down again, and then she tries the other knob first, and like through trial and error you understand that the knob on the left is hot, the knob on the right is cold, and if you turn the knob cold on first, the valves like interfere or something, and
Oh.
it's terrifying.
Okay, so hot first, and then cool it down with cold. Uh, and she'll take a nice hot bath.
Okay. Yeah, you do that.
Uh, and she'll think to herself, "This is way too early. I don't know
As
why I'm up this early."
um in the middle of your bath, you hear Sparks singing something and then leaves the room, that like the common room, and his voice just
Mm.
vanishes into the distance. Um Also, if you take a full bath in the warm tub, you gain advantage on strength and constitution saving throws for the next 8 hours
Oh, okay.
because you are loose and relaxed and limber.
Strength and Constitution saving throws
Yep.
for the next 8 hours. Okay, I'll put that in my notes.
It might not be helpful, but it is good to know that that you feel relaxed and like your muscles feel loose and stretched out.
Perfect. So take the bath. Strength and on saves advantage. 8 hours. Okay. Uh, I know she was distracted, so maybe 1 hour of actual reading for the Arcana
Sure.
or 0.
So you roll a 5. You can have an hour. I'll give you an hour.
All right, to 3. Sounds good. All right. Once that's done, she'll go to breakfast because it's probably time by now.
By now it should be, yeah. Let's see. Okay. Breakfast, it seems, is full of fruits and pancakes and crepes and berry spreads and like cream. It seems almost like a like a desserty breakfast today. Should you eat it, you would gain 7 temporary hit points unless you have more already, and you have advantage on initiative for the day.
Oh, for the day.
For the
Okay.
day. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Or there's some funky magic going on. Who knows? It's the Merry Garden. That's what I
All
rolled.
right. Okay.
Then
Got
to
it.
class.
Yes.
All right. Once more, we return to the sorcery classroom. You kind of file in with the same time as Arethea and Sparks. Amilla seems to approve of something. Perhaps she's aware of your studies, or perhaps, who knows? It seems like she knows something.
There's always a level of skepticism when she notices that, and she just gives Amilla like a cautious, like suspicious look. Like, what? What do you know? Why do you know?
Instead, she just looks at you and she says, "Magic does not reflect what you say. It reflects who you are." She gestures to a seat at the end of the table. And as she gestures that to you, she turns to Arethea and she says, "Arethea, Treat has requested your presence for a free agency. That is your assignment today." And without saying a word, Arethea just leaves the room. And Sparks looks at her expectantly, and Amilla just says, "I'm afraid there's nothing for you aside from your regular studies, Sparks." "Oh, all right." Sparks sits down and pulls open his book, and he begins to practice what looks like a somatic component you've never seen before.
Okay.
And then Amilla turns to you and sets a glass basin in front of you and strikes a spark above it, creating a simple, colorless flame. Magic responds to feeling, but it is shaped by purpose. Today, you will express a single emotion through each conjuring. You're going to begin with this. You're going to create a flame, not of fear, not of wrath, or panic, but one that carries affection. Love, however you define it. You understand?
Yeah.
Good. Alter the flame to reflect tenderness, affection, or love. And Amilla sits down.
She will look at the flame and she'll you gave me some homework. And I think even the happy story will also be a story kind of love and affection for her friends.
So, in this moment where I have you on camera, why don't you relay that memory as you concentrate on this flame?
Okay. And this is just in her head. She's just replaying the story. A few weeks after my 18th birthday, Sinra, Liam, and I scored our biggest haul ever. So the celebration was particularly rowdy and obnoxious at the Sad Cup. The next night, all of us were pretty drunk around midnight. All of us were pretty drunk, and around midnight, we thought it was a good idea to play Truth or Dare. It started off simple, like questions about how we truly felt about the other tithes, or daring each other to drink the worst tasting liquor they had. Then Sinra dared me to pick a random guy I liked and kiss him without saying a word. Normally, I'd drink enough in lieu of doing this kind of dare, but tonight the liquid courage was truly holding to its name. Earlier, I noticed a particularly cute half-elf guy who couldn't have been much older than me and was clearly an adventurer of the famous Merigard, with the famous Merigard pin on his lapel. So I did the dare, tapped him on the shoulder, and when he turned to smile, I kissed him before he could say anything. He was too stunned to protest my leaving before I left. However, I only made it back halfway when I saw Liam and Sinra sharing a moment. I had known things between them were getting serious for a while, despite them trying to hide how close they were getting. I appreciated them trying not to make things awkward between the three of us, but seeing them together gave me so much joy. So instead of interrupting him, I turned heel and went back to the cute guy. A promise was made that night between myself and that guy. One night, no names, just good company, dancing, more drinking, and more fun. And it was one of the best nights of my life.
As you pull upon this emotional memory, you see the flame alters beautifully, dancing in the shape of two figures split down the middle with rose gold hues and flickering like a heartbeat. Amilla folds her arms and leans back with a small smile on her face. Good. Very good. I am pleased to see you embracing the practices. More so, I'm glad you understood what I was hoping for. You cannot deceive the magic. You cannot lie to it. You don't have to show anyone else. But what the magic that comes from you is the truth. For the moment. We'll get to that in a moment. And she, raises a hand over the beaker and squelches the flame, picks up the beaker, and then sets a small dish in front of you, where she lights a very small little wrap of incense. Now, a subtler task. You must create a scent that makes others feel safe. Not by charm, but by truth. What does safety mean to you? You must create a scent that one might associate with warmth, protection, or sanctuary.
You see, thinking about this, about safety and when she felt safe, and she's always felt safe within the Temple of Milsander. So she will think of all the smells that come with that temple.
Okay.
Could be
It's
a mix of
the most common smells of Melisandre and the temples within are the smells of warm bread and rosemary. Those two are everywhere in that temple.
Then she will think about that, and she'll open that up to lighting or emitting that smell from the incense.
So in this case, because you're pulling on, it's not like a specific memory, but it is a thing that you are used to, that you have experienced many, many times. I'm going to ask you to roll me a wisdom insight check. And it's you are inciting yourself, literally. You're introspecting. So roll me a wisdom insight check.
Just a lot of 12s today.
12. The scent is a little bittersweet. Amila says, safety born from loss will always smell a little bit like smoke. It's useful, but it's not universal. Meditation would help in this situation. Focus upon what you've experienced so that you can extend them to others. This is the strength of sorcery. No wizard or bard can truly affect one's emotions on others. You understand?
He just nods.
Last stage. And Amila, raises a hand, and the lanterns within the room suddenly dim a little bit. And Sparks looks up like, hey! And Amila glances over. You are a kobold. You can see in the dark better than either of us. And Sparks says, okay. You're right. Sorry. Just surprised me. As you were. Now, Elle, you will lie. With purpose. I want you to show me a memory that never happened. One that would move me if it were true. You may use minor illusion, you may use greater magics, but I want you to fabricate something to convince me. This is difficult. And she leans back again.
You see Lorelai just kind of bolster with a little bit of confidence in this regard. A little bit sure of herself. She's been good at telling stories before to other people, maybe stretching the truth about a certain hero or a certain, acolyte of a god that she's trying to sell. And she always thought the best lies were rooted in truth, in some sort of truth. So, are there any deities that are particularly draconic besides Tyrus and Pyrrhus? Well, she'll use which one's the good one? Is it Pyrrhus?
Pyrrhus is the good aligned one.
Okay. She will use a figure from her past. This wasn't him, but a red dragonborn that she used to frequent a lot, who had a harmonica with him. And she will think of a story based on him and how he brought forth the favor of Pyrrhus and made the sun shine to grow his crops outside of Taka. And she'll weave a minor illusion just kind of depicting this scene of him using his joy and his harmonica to gain the favor of this god, to shed light on his on a bounty.
Okay. Please roll me deception or performance at advantage. Using your magic to tell this tale.
Okay. Ugh. 7 and an 8 for 17.
17 on deception. Okay.
Yep.
That was a success. Amila seems to be interested, even though she knows it's false. She says, your magic is starting to understand who you are pretending to be. That means it's close to learning who you truly are. Good. She extinguishes the light, and then the The lanterns in the room glow back to full brightness, and she says, "There are creatures in this world, be they kings, warlords, fae, or demons, who speak with charm and magic entwined. You must be better than all of them. Every spell you cast reflects your heart, and people will follow or fear that heart. You must train it."
She'll nod. Listening.
You have been progressing well as to your emotional control. I am pleased. Which means we must actually move on to a practical exercise. So this afternoon, you will be joining me for a practiced exercise where we will apply perhaps some of these skills into a purpose. For the rest of this morning, I have some reading material for you. Part of your exercise and part of your duty as a mercenary for the Merryguard Academy is you must understand how to deal with an enemy. You must research them. You must understand who they are and how they will likely react to you, or the people that hire you. In this afternoon's exercise, you will be tasked with escorting a group of Aurelian soldiers over a bridge. And that bridge is controlled by hobgoblins. What do you know about hobgoblins?
Can I roll?
Are you proficient in history or nature?
No, neither.
Roll a straight intelligence check.
Okay. Ooh, 5.
You know they're red, and they're scary.
Big, red, scary? I never really met one before.
Considering where you hail from, that is fair. It makes sense. Good. Then you should read this carefully. And she sets a book in front of you called An Ember Kept, Studies of the Iron Blood Clans.
A lot of reading lately.
Oh, get used to that. Unfortunately, it is the best means of transferring knowledge from one to another. And you have a lot to learn.
I used to learn by just doing it.
Well,
she'll just flip to the first page.
As she taps the top of the page, she says, "Unfortunately, in our trade, just doing it can get you killed. It is in my best interest to keep you alive."
And I'll try to unlearn what I learned before.
Good. And she basically steps away and she says, "Study that tome until lunch. Afterwards, it is off to the training room for a practiced exercise."
She'll when she puts the book in front of her, she'll take the big red book and just place it on the table. As if she's done with it.
A woman of your word. And she sets the hand on the big red book and pulls it away.
It's useful.
I do try to limit my collection to tomes that are of use, unlike our friend in the tower, Mr. Tabernac. But if you're looking for more random and enjoyable reads, you're always welcome to go search his library.
Noted. And she'll turn to the page.
Amila leads you to your work. Okay, are you ready for me to read more exposition at you?
Yeah, I love the lore dump.
Okay.
I love it.
Here we go. The Hobbogobbolins of Amaranth are not the crude warmongers that children's tales would have you believe. They are a proud and ancient people, nomadic, iron-disciplined, and fiercely loyal to their kin. Known to themselves as the Iron-Blooded, Hobgoblins organize their society into sprawling clans, some numbering in the thousands, each with its own banners, traditions, and martial codes. These clans drift across Anth's borders like smoke, never aimless, always watching. Hobgoblin culture reveres discipline above all things. From childhood, each hobgoblin is raised to act not as an individual but as part of a greater whole. Every decision, whether in war, trade, or speech, is measured not by gain but by honor. To lie, cheat, or act dishonorably is not merely shameful, it is a betrayal of their ancestors, a crack in the clan's foundation. Combat, for a hobgoblin, is more than a necessity, it is a philosophy. They see battle as a proving ground for worth, both personal and communal. But while they value skill and ferocity, they despise what they call knife-under-the-cloak tactics, poison, ambushes, cowardice. Even among enemies, they respect open challenge and worthy opposition. To strike without warning, to deceive with no test of mettle, is an act beneath contempt. Insult, whether intentional or careless, is grave. A hobgoblin's reputation is their inheritance. To tarnish that, by questioning their courage, mocking their customs, or treating them as a lesser person, is to invite retaliation not from one, but from many. Yet for all their sharp edges, hobgoblins are also diplomats, storytellers, and builders of memory. Their oral histories stretch back centuries, and their emissaries, called word-bearers, can recite treaties from memory and negotiate with a sword still wet. If shown respect and sincerity, a hobgoblin will treat even a foe as an honored equal. To speak with one is to spar with words sharpened on steel. And then, as you finish that, excerpt, that goes on to a section called The Right of Yielding. Do you read that? Did I lose you?
Oh, my bad. I opened a can of drink
I
I didn't want it to go. She'll read everything.
Okay.
Like it was told.
Here we go. To understand hobgoblin warfare is to understand the weight of choice in combat. Among the iron-blooded, surrender is not shameful. It is sacred. A hobgoblin knows death intimately. Their society is not built on the avoidance of it, but on the understanding of it. Thus, to yield in battle, whether on the field, in duel, or in contest, is not cowardice, but clarity. A warrior who surrenders honors the value of their own life and the knowledge they carry. In doing so, they offer more than their blade, they offer a bond. To yield is to become beholden. A surrendered warrior is not free. They are in debt to the one who bested them. That debt may manifest in service, knowledge, fealty, or tribute, but it is always honor-bound and binding. Many of the great alliances among hobgoblin clans began not with negotiation, but with mercy shown on the battlefield. Conversely, to deny a surrender, to strike down a foe who has yielded in earnest, is a vile transgression. Such an act stains not just the blade that performed it, but the spirit of the one who allowed it. Hobgoblins believe this offense awakens an ancient curse, known only as the flame without master. This is not a metaphor. Those who break the sanctity of surrender are said to be cursed by the iron-blood ancestors. Their fires burn out, their weapons break, their sleep is haunted, and when they die, they are left unnamed, for no clan will speak of them again. Even non-hobgoblins who slay a surrendering hobgoblin may find themselves the target of ritual condemnation, a symbolic execution that can ripple across treaties and generations. To accept surrender is to gain a life and a debt. To give it is to place your name in someone else's story. And to deny it is to be erased. And then there's a list of common hobgoblin proverbs.
She'll read a couple of those just to have it under her belt.
Okay. Chains forged in respect hold longer than those forged in fear. Attributed to War Mother Garsheka of the Red Spiral clan. Garsheka famously spared a KO war captain after a grueling siege. That commander later swore allegiance to her. and his entire garrison followed. The red spiral swelled to double its size without spilling a drop more blood. Another proverb: you do not need to roar to be heard in the war tent, said of unspoken Kor, a diplomat of the Pale Ash Banner. Kor was born mute, yet negotiated an end to the Siege of Seven Flows using only gesture, written word, and presence. His treaties still hold today and are respected by the College of Seven Songs.
You don't need to roar to be heard in
the war tent.
In the war tent.
Victory forgotten is the same as defeat. Chiseled into the war drums of Clan Emberwake. Clan Emberwake believes memory is the truest measure of victory. Their drummers carry carved drums retelling each battle, and forgetting a fallen warrior is a punishable offense. Do you want more? I got more.
A victory forgotten
is the same as defeat.
Is the same as defeat. I did not get the time to write the first one down.
The first one: chains forged in respect hold longer than those forged in fear.
All right. Chains forged in respect hold longer than ones in fear.
than those forged in fear.
Than those forged in fear. Okay. I think that's good enough.
Okay. I have a whole bunch.
Maybe I'll come back to it later. Hobgoblin proverbs. This is really cool. I love this.
Okay. That's what you spend your morning reading, is this book about hobgoblins and their culture and their practices, and you now have an understanding of hobgoblins, and you can consider yourselves to have proficiency in history when considering hobgoblins.
Okay.
Just make a note of that. It's not.
Yeah. Got it. All right. So, with that done, after reading all that, she'll just like lean back in the chair and just kind of sigh after having read all that, and she closes the book. After lunch or right now?
Mila sees that you're finished with the book, and she says, "The intention was after lunch, though I do have one more question to propose to you. As part of your work as a Beauregard mercenary, you will have to work with others, as demonstrated with your work with Cassia yesterday.
Okay.
Would you like to pursue this task in negotiations with hobgoblins with another student? Or do you prefer to handle it on your own with our employer in this moment?" I'll leave the choice up to you.
I hate to say this. Is there a student of Vion here?
Vion? I can certainly ask. If I recall, I don't believe so.
Okay. Um. Can I request a paladin then?
Amilla like considers with her arms clasped behind her back, and she says, "You can request. They might not be available, but a request is not denied. Did you have one in mind?"
Yeah. Um. Halden.
I will ask Miss Westwood if Halden is available this afternoon.
I can go ask her if you want me to.
Amilla raises a hand. Have you finished your study if you are comfortable?
Yes.
Then go on.
All right. She'll smirk and head up the stairs.
Okay. You leave the sorcerer classroom. And you find yourself back out in the halls of the Maryguard, and you're heading to the Paladin classroom?
Yep. Which is pretty close to the sorcerer classroom, if I remember correctly.
It is,
It
yes.
was,
It's just a couple doors down.
yeah.
Okay. You head
Uh,
there?
yeah. So when she thought of this, she's like, uh, her thoughts on this. She's like, a Vionite, a cleric of Vionite would be good for this because Vion is all about respect and duty and justice, law, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But also a paladin would be good for this because they would respect a hobgoblin's uh, you know personality or culture. Uh, but when she thought of that, she also thought this is a good chance to see this friend of her dad's who picked her up and gave her a whole bunch of shit and try to mess with her a little bit. Um, so she doesn't knock, she just walks in.
Okay. You march into the Paladin classroom. As you do, you find yourself looking at a large training room with many, like the walls are lined with shelves that are full of books and scrolls and tomes. And you see Cress standing on the far side of the room, and she is rapping this. It's not a hammer, it's like a quarterstaff, and she's tapping it against one of the dummies in rhythm. And you see that there are two paladins students in the classroom. One that looks like a halfling with short, fiery red hair and shaved heads, and shaved on the side of the head. And then the other is Halden, you recognize as the enormous tiefling. And both of them are going through what looks like martial training drills.
Okay.
Uh,
I don't think anybody has ever seen this room in
I don't
any
think
of the
so
From
either.
Nothing. This is cool. All right.
As this training is happening, Cressida, the paladin instructor, looks up at you, and she like narrows her eyes for a moment, but she continues making the rhythm. And as like Halden like slightly turns, you hear Cressida say, "Eyes front! Focus on the exercise or your enemy will just stab you. You don't want that, do you?" And Halden like immediately like snaps forward. He's like, "Sorry, ma'am." Continues what he's training. And as this is happening, uh,
Does she like I know she noticed me, but does she immediately you know try to find out why I'm here, or do I have some time to like
you have a moment.
walk around? Okay. She's gonna walk around to like the different punching bags and just like 1-2 playfully at one of them, just kind of just Just messing around.
Sure.
Waiting to.
Yeah, absolutely. You do that.
Okay.
As the training is happening, eventually, like it's like 5 minutes before finally Crest says, "All right, break." Yes, Miss Taylor.
Oh, hey. So there's a practical application for negotiations with hobgoblins, and I was thinking, well, paladins are kind of, well, their code aligns with some of the hobgoblin culture. So I was thinking maybe Halden could join me for this one
Crest looks over at Halden. When?
this afternoon.
Crest looks at Halden and then over at you, and she says, "Well, Halden, how do you feel about practical exercise instead of your drills this afternoon?" Halden, like, he's sweating and he's like out of breath. He's got this great big warhammer that he's like leaning on, and he looks over at you and he just says, "Oh, yeah, that sounds great. Nice to get my hands out in the field." You see the halfling like looks at you, and then at Halden, and then Cressida just like it looks like she's distracted for a moment as she's like listening to something that only she can hear.
Okay. Well, I got a minute here, and I'm looking at both of them together. What symbols does the halfling carry on her?
Anah,
Ah, okay,
you would recognize the purifying flame anywhere.
gotcha. Okay, she makes
As
note of that.
Cressida is like listening to something, she then stops and she says, "All right, after lunch, both of you are going to report to Persh, from what I understand." And then she looks at
Yep.
Halden and she says, "Well, go see what you can do. Both of you are dismissed for lunch." The
Thanks.
red-haired halfling like looks at Cress and says, "Thanks, boss." And they both begin to make their way towards the door, Halden looking at you. And when he gets to you, he says, "What's this about? Hobgoblins?"
Yes, we're escorting a detachment of Aurelian soldiers over a bridge that is guarded by hobgoblins, and we need to negotiate their crossing. If I'm, is that's correct?
That's pretty
Uh,
much
uh,
correct, yeah.
all right. How much do you know about hobgoblins?
Hold on. I've seen them a couple times up near Kona. Just they're dangerous, and I think we've traded with them once or twice, but it's always tense.
It's- Well, let me tell you what I just learned in a big book that I was forced to read. Come on.
Alden follows you. I assume you're heading to the lunch hall?
Yeah.
Okay.
And while we're there, she'll give him all the information that she just learned over lunch about hobgoblins and their culture, and even list off a few proverbs that she kind of tucked in the back of her mind to use.
Halden listens pretty intently as you're eating lunch, and he's like, "That's a lot. Okay.
He
Are we
spent most of the morning doing that.
gonna get in a scrap?"
I'm hoping not, but yeah, I'm hoping not. I'm hoping. Well, I have sort of an idea of what to do, but I never really know exactly what to do until we're there. So
Okay, I'm good with winging it. I like winging it. That makes,
good.
you can't panic about a plan going wrong if there isn't one.
Well, my initial, if we need to get by safely, they're they honor challenges. So if negotiations aren't smooth in terms of an amicable crossing without any battle, maybe a personal challenge one on one would would be best. I don't know. Like I said, it's just the inkling of a plan, but we'll
Okay.
have to see when we get there.
Never fought a hobgoblin before, but I mean, I guess there's always a first time.
Well, like the book said, surrender is not uh, frowned upon. Uh, it's actually respectable. So
Really? I wouldn't have guessed
if
that.
I remember correctly, and she kind of thinks back on the book. Did she remember correctly?
Yeah, surrender is it's it's important that if a surrender happens, it's honored, basically.
Yeah. So if you have the upper hand, I mean, I don't think I can fight anybody martial. And she just kind of like flexes a little bit.
Whoa!
Uh,
Check out those guns.
um, you're funny.
Thanks.
Um, so I think that's the plan. And you're welcome for getting you out of drills.
Yeah, we were supposed to work on smite drills. It's tricky.
Sounds awful.
It's not that bad. It's just hard.
That's exactly what I said.
All right. Anyway, I'm starving.
Sorry, it's just
He like basically cuts off the rest of the conversation by walking straight
Mhm.
into the mess hall. And you see that on the counter, assorted and laid out in front of everybody, are these like, it looks like fried bread with these thick slabs of beef or mutton and
Ooh,
vegetables covering them, all on top, with like all sorts of like lighter vegetables on the side of them. And
okay.
Holland's like, oh, I'm looking forward to this.
Is this something that Lorelai would know as well, or is this
This is nothing you've ever seen.
gotcha? And she'll like kind of quirk an eyebrow. What is this?
They're half witches. You never had one.
No.
They're a halfling thing. They fry bread and they cover it with just like the fattiest, greasiest meat you can find, and you eat the whole thing from the top down with gravy under it. It's so good.
Okay. Um. So it's like half a sandwich.
Kinda. It's like yeah, but with only one piece of bread that's fried, so it's real crispy. You'll see.
Why not?
Just try it.
Why why not fold the bread? I don't. Okay, I'll try it.
Because they cover it with all sorts of vegetables, and if you try and fold it, it'll fall. Just try it.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, she will try it.
You gain 12 temporary hit points. Top of the die.
Yay.
So that's 2 more than you had, I think.
Yep.
Well, Halden now has 12. He had 4. There we go. All right. You eat lunch. It is delicious. The meat is like well seasoned and a little spicy, and it's just like there is a gravy underneath the meat that seems to just like soften the top of the bread just enough. You've never had it before, and it's amazing. I guess you can decide if Lorelai actually likes it, but I would eat it.
Uh, as long as there's like not too many vegetables. What kind of vegetables are we talking about here?
Onions and peppers are like grilled on top of the meat,
Okay.
and then on the side of the plate are potatoes.
Gotcha. So, snap decision. She doesn't like peppers. So,
Okay, they're easy enough to
yeah,
pluck off.
yeah. She'll do that, and then she'll enjoy it.
Okay, you eat your
Yeah.
half witch. Holland seems to be enjoying every moment of it. Um, like he kind of has this revelry about it as he's eating the food. Um, and you do catch he's holding his holy symbol in his offhand while he's eating. It seems like this might be a form of prayer for him.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, Doran, right?
Yeah, follower of Dorn.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Yeah. Food's a big part of everything you are, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
So, am I assuming correctly that you could make a mean meal?
Oh, I mean, I think it's important to know how.
I'm curious to see you prove it.
Well, maybe we'll have the chance. I just think, food demands respect. And he like looks at the peppers you've separated onto the plate and he says, "Well, that's a
Do you
shame."
want? Do you want them?
Yes.
She kind of slides them over.
He like scoops each one up and reverently puts it on the remainder of his half witch. Just a shame.
I,
And, he,
I, I think it's a texture thing, really.
and you've never had good ones.
All right. Uh, yeah. And then once we're all done, ready to go. I think Crest said go to Persh.
Yep.
Probably don't need to go back to Amilla.
No, after you
Uh,
eat, you go to Persh and Amilla is there.
oh,
She's standing in
perfect.
the lobby and she sees that you have collected Halden. She says, "I see you were successful in your recruitment attempt."
Yeah.
Right. Persh, if you could, I'd like Kopaki Bridge in the training room. Persh, like, looks over at the two of you. Are you sure about that? Milla just nods. Before, the clash. And Persh just nods. And you see he, like, pulls a crystal out from underneath the desk, and he, like, has this quill that he begins to, like, inscribe something in thick black ink on the crystal, and you're watching as it vanishes. And this takes, like, a minute. And you and Halden are kind of just standing there waiting.
Uh-huh.
Finally, when Persh is finished, he puts the crystal away, and he looks at Amilla, and he says, "It's all set." Amilla turns to the two of you. "Follow me." She leads you both
She follows.
down. She leads you down into the training room. Only you notice as you're going down the steps into the training room, it is getting cold. Very cold.
Oh. Okay. I mean, Lorelai's pretty
Yeah, from
used to the cold.
Terracona, you're accustomed to it, but poor old Halden is immediately like, "Ooh, okay. Didn't expect that."
You know what's funny? Actually, Lorelai will take off her leather jacket and give it to him.
No
You
offense,
go,
but
Southerner.
you're a little. I don't want to tear it.
Hmm?
I'll just put it over my shoulders. And he doesn't put his hands through the coat because he's like 6'7" or something like that. He's a
Yeah.
huge guy.
Yep, and Lorelai's 5'4".
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
so he just like drapes the leather coat over his shoulders. But when he does, he just is like, "Thanks."
I'm used to it, big guy.
Must be horrible. Why would you want to be used to this? As
That's where I grew up.
no thanks. Amila like leads the way, and she opens a door, and out it opens into a snowy field, a snowy beach, a snowy river bed, and you are looking out into what looks like a small settlement or a few buildings with a bridge between them.
Okay.
It is unexpected that this is what you see.
Oh. Yeah, okay.
As you enter this area, Amila says, I figured it was time to show you what the training room can really do.
This is cool.
These will be your allies. And she, like, creates these 3 Aurelian soldiers. They look just like regular standard issue out uniforms on Aurelian infantry. They aren't moving. They haven't even turned, and you realize that they are literally just constructs designed to look like Aurelian soldiers, and they don't move. As there were in the original Kopeki clash, there were passers-by. So, our bystanders, and she raises just 3 innocent people. And then for your adversaries, how this all began. And she raises her hands again, and a group of hobgoblins controlling the bridge suddenly appear. They are like in the middle of saying something, but they're frozen in time. And Amila says, this is a reenactment of a real thing that happened with our contractors. Our contractors were intended to negotiate passage for these soldiers across Kopeki Bridge, and hobgoblins were found to be controlling half the city. You must find a way to negotiate these soldiers past them. Whether this might be by trade or duel or just by conversation, one way or another, you need to get these soldiers across the bridge and over and out Port Kopeki. And these hobgoblins don't want that.
Okay.
I will begin the scenario as soon as you step foot on the bridge.
Just in case, she'll cast Mage Armor.
Wise. Now, should you perish, or should things go poorly, the training room will heal you, and I will reset the situation. Any number of tries. However, I will warn you that should you fail too many times, we will run out of time.
Okay.
Remember what you've learned about hobgoblins, and see if you can leverage that to your abilities.
We'll see. I have a couple ideas, I think.
Also, don't bother running. This may look like the city of Port Kopeki, but it is just the size of the training room, so you will just run flat into a wall.
All right. And she'll step forward.
Halden follows you. As soon as you step on the bridge, you hear the soldier behind you immediately say, "Men, arms ready!" And across the bridge, this hobgoblin ahead of you. Do you speak Goblin?
Nope.
Says something in Goblin. And, like, you see the hobgoblins on the roofs have longbows that they draw, like, ready to loose. And the hobgoblin to you, who are stepping forward, he says in common, but it's kind of hard to understand, "Who's this, then?"
She'll put her hands up, and she'll whisper to Halden, "Just follow my lead."
Oh, I had no intention otherwise.
Negotiator. For passage.
As if you
Obviously.
manfolk understood the meaning.
Well, that's why I'm here. What can we do for you to grant us passage across this bridge?
This land has been sanctioned. Lysandra controls. Our rituals will be finished, and then we will leave. You will wait until we leave.
Just a question. How long do these rituals last?
Until the suns have burned their way across the sky. The next cycle they return. 2 days.
2 days. He'll kind of look back to the Rillian soldiers.
Yeah, he looks at you and he says, that can't work. We have to reinforce. We have to get to the East Coast immediately. We need to be there yesterday. If we have to fight our way through here, we will.
I don't want that. She'll turn back to the Hobgoblin. And she'll say, unfortunately, we need to make passage now. However, I think it'd be fair for an escort through so we don't disrupt your rituals.
Your footsteps on sacred land would soil the ritual. You will not cross. You will wait.
Then I apologize. I will have to ask for a duel for passage. Your strongest versus our strongest.
What would you know of this?
Well, I know that a challenge is sacred. And we do not wish to shed blood, so the first to surrender?
Roll a persuasion.
Here we go.
Or a deception if you intend to lie. I don't know.
Nope.
Okay.
First.
26. The hobgoblin looks at you. Looks at the soldiers behind you. You would stake a life debt of your own against ours.
Yes.
Very well. Cordok! And the one that you're speaking to backs off to the side of the bridge, and this hobgoblin that was behind him steps forward, and they have a conversation in Goblin.
Okay. Lorelei will turn to Halden. You're up, buddy. And she'll pat him on the shoulder.
What? Wait a minute. What just happened? What?
If you need to surrender, don't worry. You can surrender. They'll honor it. And if it comes with the price of surrendering, I'll be behind you.
Okay. Sure. I guess. And I thought the training would have been worse. He just goes out, draws his warhammer, and looks as this hobgoblin nods in understanding. And apparently his name is Cordok as he approaches.
I'm trying to think, how can I help him here and now?
I don't know.
So, yeah, actually, as a part of that, just pat on the shoulder, I don't know how much it'll help, but she will try to help him with a protection from evil and good.
Okay, you do that.
I don't know if that'll help, but
it won't. But you put that on him. You do that. That's fine.
Yeah,
Okay.
maybe it'll give him some confidence. I don't know.
All right. So for this encounter, let's see here. I'm going to grant you control over Halden.
Okay.
I'm removing his backstory from his character sheet so you can't sneak a peek.
Oh, all right.
Just in case. You know how it is.
Yeah.
I
don't want to know anyway.
I know. I'm just saying. I just didn't want it to be. You might be tempted. No one needs that.
Okay, yeah, I'm a little tempted.
Okay. Here we go. I will grant... Hold on. Let me pull it up. Configure ownership. Okay. You are controlling Halden in this duel.
All right.
Go ahead and roll initiative for him.
Nice. Okay. Well, did he have breakfast? Does he have advantage?
He does not. He did not get the same advantage as you, unfortunately.
Okay. Well, here we go.
Woo!
Hey, that's pretty good.
Okay, let me update.
Wait, I rolled a dex check, so it didn't actually.
It's fine. I got it. I just update. I don't think. Yeah, he goes first. So, Halden goes first, and you, the player, are seeing what he can do. He is a first-level paladin, which means he's basically a fighter. He has a warhammer. He has lay on hands he can do on himself. He is resistant to fire damage, which doesn't really help. And he has thaumaturgy. No, it's a level 1 paladin. They don't have spells.
Uh-oh. I thought he would have had smite.
Nope.
Okay.
They don't get that until level 2.
Okay. I'll try to help him as much as I can.
He's basically a fighter. Go for it.
All right. He strides up, and first to go once they're ready. Is there any kind of like ritual as to where they both like kind of signal that they're ready to fight?
I mean, as soon as you rolled initiative, the hobgoblin Kordok raised his longsword. Clearly, like he was ready to engage. So, seems like there's no real ceremony about it, especially not to a non-hobgoblin.
Okay. He has a shield and a warhammer, so this is one-handed.
Yep.
Yeah. Mm. 13.
13 does not hit, I'm afraid.
Okay.
As you miss, the Kordok like raises the longsword and parries the blow away. But he doesn't have any special features either, so he doesn't strike back. The first blow is defended against.
Okay.
All right. It's now Kordok the Hobgoblin's turn. He's going to swing his longsword at you. He is using 2 hands on it. And I rolled a 21 to hit, which absolutely hits Halden, even though his AC is good.
Yeah. Just barely. I'm looking at.
Halden takes 11 points of slashing damage.
Okay, that's temp HP gone.
Yep. Almost. He still has 1.
Yeah.
That's what happens. It's just a trade of blows, low-level fights. You know, that's how it goes. All right. Halden, you're up.
He's going to go again. There's not much I can do besides... Oh, 19?
19 hits.
Okay.
Halden, over his shoulder to Lorelei, says, "It's easier when the dummies don't hit back."
I'm sure it is. And here's the damage. Oh. Okay, 7.
Okay. He hits hard. The warhammer slams into the armor of the hobgoblin, who is almost knocked off his feet, and he manages to like keep his footing, but it's clear that blow bloodied him.
Oh. Okay.
Level 1.
All right.
All right, the hobgoblin's turn.
Put your shield up next time.
As you say that, the sword like scrapes off the shield as I roll 17 to hit.
Oh, okay, cool. Good job.
You're right.
And he'll go for an attack. Oh, another 19. Heck yeah.
That hits. Oh, okay.
6.
Yeah, it hurts, but he's still up. The hobgoblin like defends away the blow enough that it doesn't like crush him. But it's clear Halden has like the farm boy physique, and it is paying off.
Good.
It's now Kordok's turn. He attacks. That's a 22 to hit. That absolutely hits.
Yep.
Halden takes 7 points of slashing damage.
Okay, 7.
That's the temp HP is gone. He's just over half. Halden like grits his
Yeah.
teeth and he says, "Oh." Okay, it's Halden's turn.
You got this. Go for an attack. Oh,
That misses.
nope. Yeah.
As the hobgoblin cuts through him, or I'm sorry, as Halden fails to cut through the hobgoblin says something in goblin, but it's not. You don't know what it is. It doesn't seem like he speaks common.
Gotcha.
That's not gonna hit. That's a 7.
Ooh.
So now there's like a trade of parries, and now it's back to Halden's turn.
Okay. Roll better. Halden, come on. Dude.
That's not better.
Okay, this is me. Sorry, Alden. Let's go. You're doing great.
It's so much harder than I thought it would be. That is an 18 to hit.
Does not hit.
Oh
With
shit,
the
that's
shield.
right. Fuck the shield. Okay. It's close, but he manages to block it. And the hobgoblin, you can hear him just like Nordgurska, like he curses in frustration trying to hit Halden. All right. Halden's turn. Go for it.
Let's go. Bro.
Okay. It's nothing.
I can't even like restore balance. Maybe I should. I don't know. No, I don't know. I'm trying.
There's no
like,
restore balance. It's not disadvantage.
Yeah, I know.
Do you think Lorelai would try
opportunity.
and like sneak something in, even though she knows they'd be upset?
No.
Like, she might try it. I mean, if she thinks she can get it past their perception.
No, she's gonna play this by the book, what you read.
Okay.
I think it's I'll tell you the reasoning behind why she does this, because she respects culture.
Okay. As
Yeah.
as Elle is respecting culture, the hobgoblin rolls a dirty 20 to hit, which is the AC, I believe.
It is, yeah.
Halden takes 5 points of slashing damage.
Okay, he's at 2 hit points. Would Halden surrender at this point? Because I don't want to.
Halden would not. No, Halden would absolutely not.
Okay.
He might lay on hands, but he wouldn't surrender.
Does the hobgoblin look anywhere close to being?
Yeah, the hobgoblin is below half health. Like, one good hit and he's done.
Okay. If he's not going to surrender, then he'll roll it.
Okay. All right. There's a good hit.
Yeah. Natural 1 to 20. Okay. Would Halden like remember?
Oh, he's smart. He's not stupid.
Well, I mean, just like, would he have the wherewithal to maybe stop the blow and allow the hobgoblin to surrender, or would he just go for it? I mean,
Halden he's a very good aligned character.
Okay.
He would absolutely be trying to make it non-lethal at the least.
Okay, we'll go on non-lethal then.
Okay.
Let's just knock him out.
Halden raises the warhammer and he brings it up to smash the hobgoblin, and he notices the hobgoblin misses his block. And as the hammer goes up, he twists it so the flat of the hammer, just the side of it, just poof, slaps the hobgoblin on the side of the head. And the hobgoblin is knocked unconscious.
Okay. Lorelai will smile, give Halden a thumbs up, and then look to the obvious leader.
The leader, like, steps out and he says, "Enough!" The ritual has been honored this day. An arrangement was made. You will proceed, but understand, should you linger, the deal will be broken. And
Chains
as
forged in respect hold longer than those forged in fear.
the
Thank you.
hobgoblin looks surprised that you say that, the fallen teach the living. And he, like, dips his head to you.
Yeah.
As he goes to collect his fallen ally, you hear some gentle applause from behind you as all the constructs suddenly collapse into sand. Well done. Well done indeed.
Lorelai will go up to Holden and just give him a smile and a pat him on the shoulder.
Ow.
You did? Oh. You got healing? I can't heal you. Sorry.
I do. And he, like, as he begins to repair.
Hold on. Wait. And now. And she'll wait for the healing mist.
Yeah, it starts to coalesce. He does restore some health just by being in here. And as he does, he just... Oh. Why can't we just train in here all the time?
Well, Crest seems old-fashioned.
From behind, Emily says, actually, it's because you would go insane. Now, well done. We must discuss what you just performed.
Sure.
As the two of you, like, head up, I'm going to remove your permissions.
Thank you.
Just a moment here. Okay. As the two of you return, Emila says, this encounter, the one that you handled with study and knowledge, is a reenactment of a mistake we made as a guild. 70 years ago, Port Kopaki was assaulted by hobgoblins. It was attacked because a Merigard solo agent was working with a group of Aurelian soldiers who were trying to help cope with, well, a conflict. There was a war occurring between noble clans, goodness gracious, noble families on the southern coast of Terracona, and on the northern coast were lots of resources and passages that both merchant navies tried to use to their advantage. The Aurelian army was trying to leverage what ports there were onto the side of the Brass family, because they were aligned with Aurelia's interest, and us, the Merigard Mercenary Academy, had our hands in it. Unfortunately, the solo agent that was working with them did not understand the principles that hobgoblins find dear. They tried to force their way through, and in so doing, cost the lives of the entire Aurelian warband, as well as most of the settlers that resided within Port Kopaki at the time. Simply by understanding your enemy, you can handle things much more intelligently. Because if you had gone off your previous knowledge, knowing that hobgoblins were red and monsters and were scary, this would have gone completely differently, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah. Thanks.
I admit I expected this exercise to take multiple attempts, but you completed it on the first go. I have no complaints.
I didn't do it alone. This guy did all the heavy lifting.
I will send my commendations to Miss Westward. I'm sure she will be pleased to hear that her student was up to the task. And, like, blushing at the compliment, and having healed most of the damage he took, Halden just kind of, like, scratches at the back of his neck, and he says, you don't have to I mean, it's fine. It was nothing. Right. Well, humility is a asset, I hear. Regardless, this was all I had for you this afternoon, so you are free to spend the rest of your day as you see fit. You are welcome to recover the rest of the way here. Alert Persh when you are finished. And Amilla steps out of the training room.
Okay, I'm sure he wants to heal up all the way.
Yeah, he kind of like
So
sits in the snow and he says, I'll be just a minute.
yeah, take your time.
I mean, you don't have to hang out if you don't want. It's pretty cold in here.
No, kind
Right.
of do.
Oh, yeah, I got your jacket. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. She'll take it and she won't like put it on, but she'll just kind of look around and she hasn't really been outside of Taka too much. Um I mean aside from uh date she took a weekend trip
Sure.
on the gondola with her family like when she was young, but anything outside of Taka and its walls and or the city, she hasn't really seen much of Terracona, so she takes a good look at the place around her.
Even though it is an illusion and a construct of the training room, it does feel like a real place. The wind is chill and smells of fresh air and snow and ice. You hear the distant cracking of ice on the waters as maybe glacial movement or oceans shifting the broken ice surface. It sounds and feels like you're on the northernmost edge of Terracona. The only
So
thing
like
missing is
what
like there's no movement of people. What were you gonna ask?
she'll just kind of like in the silence just kind of like listen to the water underneath the ice as it passes, kind of rushes under it. um and is there like a simulated wind, or
It feels like it.
she'll just kind of fold her jacket into her arms and fold her arms across her, and she'll just look out in silence.
Holden appears to be insightful enough to not disturb you.
After a long moment, she'll turn to Halden. You ready?
Oh yeah, I'm good now. Thanks.
Yeah.
He stands up, and you are free to leave the training room, Kopaki Bridge.
And yeah, she will.
Okay. We return to the front of the Marigard. Milla is not there. Persh, like, looks up. All finished with the room, then.
Yeah.
All right. You see he, like, pulls that same crystal out, and he begins to, like, rub it with this other stone. So that was a hell of a thing.
Yeah, well done.
You too.
Thanks.
I mean, I know you were dismissed, but I imagine Crest probably has more for me.
Do you really want to go back?
No?
Or would you like to grab a drink?
Okay, a drink sounds good.
What time is it, Persh?
Persh, without looking up as he's working on the crystal, he just says, about 1:30.
Happy hour.
Yeah, I guess so. I could use a nice ale.
Let's find something other than the Mary Guard. I'm sure there's probably another one. Here,
Persh
right?
says, down by the docks there's the ship stool.
Perfect. Let's go.
And you leave.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, as you leave the Merryguard Academy, heading to the ship's stool with Halden, that is where we will call it for tonight's session.
Sounds good.
Okay, so let me go ahead. As we come to the end of the session, I want to thank you for playing with me. I hope you had a good time, despite all the lore drops.
Loved it. All of it.
Thank you for playing with me. And to those of you who are at home or at work watching, hi Penn, hi Emily, hi class, hi everybody else. We love you all, and I wish you a good night.